Hare Krishna Prabhu's. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So I've been making these, trying to convince people of the danger of the deception that's going on right now. And so I was just reflecting on what would best illustrate the depth of this deception. And actually, there's no question in my life is from my own narrative. The thing that was the biggest surprise and also one of the best things that have ever happened is with my own health. As many of you probably know, 4 or 5 years ago, I discovered I was taking a shower, a lump in my breast. And at that time, it really set me through a tailspin. It's like I had all these plans and these attachments, and all of a sudden I realized I could die within a few years. And I also had to evaluate whether I had faith in the medical industry, because I didn't have health insurance, but I could probably have gotten Obamacare or whatever. But I didn't want to do that. And I realized it was my own decision. I didn't share the fact of the tumor with my husband right away. And I realized that I honestly did not have faith in the medical industry. So instead I did a very strict, I didn't cheat once for 6 months, raw food, no sugar, very, very strict diet. And it didn't help. And so then I tried a varieties of herbal cures, and actually MMS was amazing what it did. And maybe I'll talk more about MMS later, because it's kind of an amazing thing, but it didn't stop the tumor. And so then I came to the conclusion, because it was getting to be actually a couple inches. I went to a doctor and had it documented, and it was getting to be pretty big, and I was getting alarmed. This was about a year ago. And so I was thinking I should go to India and find a doctor. So somebody actually did a fundraiser for me. And I got my passport, and I was getting ready to go. And then the coronavirus thing hit, and I was, whoa. But at the same time the coronavirus hit, the fundraiser got me in touch with somebody who explained about Dr. Hammer's work. That's HAMAR. And what his realizations are about cancer. He was an oncologist, and he was out on a vacation with his family, and somebody came up and shot his son to death right in front of him. And imagine when you're having fun, and then just a random incident, the trauma that it caused him. And a few months later, he discovered he had a tumor in his testes, and he couldn't help put together the location of the tumor and the traumatic event. So he started talking to his patients and asking them, did they have a similar emotional or traumatic, some kind of conflict before the cancer came, and it was 100% response, yes. And not only that, the location of the tumor related directly with the metaphorical part of the body. Like if it was lung cancer, the person would have a deep-seated fear of death, because when you're not breathing when you're dying, that would be the first alarm that you'd have when you're actually dying, is that you can't breathe. So anyway, in the case of breast cancer, which, obviously the breast is connected to children, and the epidemic of breast cancer is because of how the families, how people are losing their children. And indeed, I had lost my little girl. And he explained that if you're getting a tumor on the left breast, it's because if you're right-handed, you're putting your child on your left hip generally, and that would be the one that you would, subconsciously associate with that child that you'd lost. So anyway, I only found that out about a year ago. So imagine I went through 3 or 4 years of thinking that my body was, likely not going to last very long. And then all of a sudden, whoa, it's like all I have to do to get rid of the cancer is get over the conflict of losing my daughter. And you think, with the philosophy that I have, knowing that we're not actually related, that she's a spirit soul, and that she's got her own narrative, and she has her lessons to learn. And it kind of helped me get over it a little bit, but the tumor was growing. Anyway, it was about 4 inches. It never hurt. I wasn't actually sick at any point. But there was one thing that I needed to do to say that I'd done everything I could to heal the relationship with my daughter. And that was ambush her at her house. So I found out where she lived, and I had a very troubling experience. And she would not open the door for me. She was home, but she would not even open the door for her mother. And so, of course, I had a big cry about it. And then what I did was I took all the memories that, from when she was born, her first smile and her walking and the cute little outfits and the twirly dresses and the hugs. And I put all of that into a mental purse that I keep in my heart. And I realized that she has her narrative. And right now it seems like individual souls and their narrative, they've been given a choice between the godly path or and Donna Shore was saying about people that worship dead things. In other words, people that want stuff or prestige. It's like right now people are really choosing whether they're going to be the materialist clinging on or the spiritualist. And it's like, just surrendering to God. And she unfortunately seems to have chosen the materialist path. And I can still, when I'm chanting, I can, have love in my heart for her and wish her the best. But I've had the realization that each person's individual narrative is perfect for that person. Krishna gives the pleasure and the pain when we need it, so that even if we fail, it's like a perfect failure, because we have that as a history that we can continue to learn on. So what I wanted to say about the deception is, I know for a fact that cancer is a hoax, because after 2 months ago, after I confronted my daughter and I had done everything that I could think of in my heart to mend that relationship, I released the conflict. And at that point, my tumor started to disintegrate. And if any Matajis are there listening to this, I will send, I haven't taken a picture yet, but I will take a picture and you can see it is a healing. It came to the surface at the worst point, 4-inch mass at the surface, and kind of a bloody, it's like I'm sorry if this is being too graphic, you can fast forward it a bit. It was like the arteries feeding this mass, because in my consciousness there was still this turmoil going on. And once I released the turmoil, according to Dr. Hammer, what happens is the tuberculosis bacteria start to proliferate, and they actually eat up the tumor. So that's why I'm getting all this like bruised look around, but it's weeping a little bit, but it has that itchy feel of something that's healing. So I know right now, for a fact that cancer is a hoax, or at least my cancer in my narrative is a hoax. And I think that can probably be extended out to everybody. And that's like, wow, if that's true, what else have we been deceived of? Oh, let's look at the coronavirus. Yeah, the fact about the coronavirus is this year, we have not had any extra deaths beyond what a normal year would have. I mean, it's right there very well within the average. So, the same number of people are dying. You don't need any more proof than that. It's like coronavirus is a cold. Nobody's proven that there's a new virus, and the symptoms are identical to what people have gotten. I've had really bad colds where I lost my sense of smell and felt like I couldn't breathe. I've had all kinds of viruses, but it turns out, okay, viruses are a hoax too. That's not the way the body works. Is about consciousness, and it's about karma, of course. But anyway, I could do a series of hours and hours about what I've learned about health. But all I can say is the this deception that the demons have put on pretty much every aspect of our life can be cured by just following Srila Prabhupada's instructions regarding lifestyle. Devotees, my God brothers and my God sisters, you should be living in a situation where the community produces its necessities. If you did that, you wouldn't be unable to look at this as the truth. I'm yelling, trying to get through to people. I'm trying to let you know that there is a deception going on, and you can't just wait and see what happens, because then it's going to be too late. Prabhupada told us what would happen. We already know. So just like when I found that tumor and realized that I've got to make some changes, it was all good. I wouldn't undo what happened to me. It's like my narrative was perfect for me. And now for your narrative to be perfect for you, if you're still listening to this, then Krishna, Prabhupada needs you to be empowered to push on the Sankirtan movement. And the way for you to do that is to find a place of safety. And I'm willing to help people find that place. We have some policies for being a refugee or joining our community, one or the other. And yet people can inquire here. It's not going to be the right choice for everyone. Of course, some people might be listening to this in other countries. But anyway, get in touch with me. I'll put the contact info there. And yes, it's wonderful. But once you can see through the deception, it's like, we have a job to do. We are Prabhupada's secret agents. We need to get on it. Hare Krishna.